Hi, I'm Molly, and I'm sitting in my yellow 72 Ford pickup truck named Daisy. Welcome to Along for the Ride, where the road is winding, the windows are down, and our souls are wide open. Where we don't have it all figured out, but we sure plan to have fun on the ride. Come along. Today, we have the great opportunity to speak with Dustin Wheeler. Dustin Wheeler's a certified magnetic mind and recode coach. She is a conscious creation coach for high vibe, action taking, generational rule breakers who are ready to claim their birthright and finally remember who they really are. She guides her clients to connect with their vision, value, and voice so they can create a life aligned with who they came here to be. Using cutting edge neuroscience and neuroemotional techniques, Dustin helps clients dissolve oscillating unconscious patterns and outdated childhood conditioning. Instead of being trapped in cycles of self sabotage, they learn how to restructure their reality into a natural magnetic alignment with their energetic flow. So they can reclaim their health with vitality and confidence, expand their wealth with purpose driven prosperity, deepen their relationships with authentic love and connection. Her work isn't about fixing what's broken, it's about unleashing what's already whole. Dustin's clients walk away knowing how to step out of survival and into creation and live from their true choice, embodying the youngest version of their future self right now. Welcome, Dustin. I can't wait to get this started. Hi, I'm Molly George, and welcome to Along for the Ride. Today, I have amazing magnetic mind coach Dustin Wheeler joining me with Daisy, and she's going to talk to us today about what she does.
Well, thank you, Molly, so much for inviting me on your podcast. I'm super excited to be the first for you in this because I think you're showing a lot of people how you start. And you start with where you are with what you have. And for you to be launching a podcast from your truck, I think is amazing. And I hope you inspire so many other people that are like, I've always wanted to do that. I hope you inspire them to start because that's how you do it. And so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Dustin Wheeler. I am a certified and recode coach. I am also the voice of Spiritually Kinky, a podcast, a book, and an academy that I just launched. I'm 60 days into the 90-day marketing, and it has been an adventure, but it is all about helping people create the path to being fully seen, deeply felt, and wildly free in this life so that they can remember who they really are and what they came here to create. And that's my mission, to just light it up with as many other people that are willing to be seen in this life for who they are as possible.
I love that common mission, and I love the title Spiritually Kinky. That is fantastic. How did you come up with that title?
Well, when we talk about being creators and we talk about the ability to know how, as soon as we create something that we've never created before, it was a thought that came in my head that was like, I think I'm going to start a podcast. I think I'm going to call it Spiritually Kinky. And literally all of these breadcrumbs were laid out as to all the pieces that came together. So it initially started when I found myself on the spicy side of the Facebook algorithm. And I don't know how I got there. I was not complaining at all, but I was like, whoa, what is this? How did I get here? And I started looking at some of the ads. It was giving me like, create an AI boyfriend and spicy audios app. And I was like, what is all this stuff? So I just kind of went on this rabbit hole of all of these things with like AI. Also, I don't know if you've ever heard of Book Talk, but if you haven't, Book Talk is a very interesting world of dark fantasy romance that I'm just like, oh, interesting. And what I realized is that are so many things out there that are promoting love and devotion in new ways came together of like, we carry so much shame around our desires, whatever they are, whether it's creating a life you love or, you know, creating an amazing sexual partnership with someone. We carry a lot of these shame things around it. And so this just came together of like the balance that I've always been trying to find in myself, because I've been very spiritual and I've also been very sexual. And bringing those things together, I also realized that, as you know, this work of being a creator, creating is one of the scariest, most beautiful, wildest rides you can ever create, you know, like, and creation starts with us, of our parents coming together, and we are created in this life from who we really are in this energy, and we form this body. And then I was like, whew, all of these concepts started coming together, and everybody started relating to feeling this way, that they were kind of like in this wobble of who they thought that they were and what they really want, and finding a place where that's okay and that's acceptable, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Okay.
And I that connection about creation, because most of we're talking about creation, like creating a podcast or creating things. But when you actually put it into the terms of we are creations of our parents, I love that. That's so
Yeah.
powerful. And releasing shame is such a big thing. We no matter around anything,
Yeah.
and it's such a weight, such a low vibe. Sometimes we carry it so long we don't even know it until one of those real fun triggers pops up and it's like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah. I mean,
oh yeah, that's why.
anytime you step beyond your family rules, whatever those were, um, you know, the bounds of where your unconscious feels safe, resistance comes up. You
Mhm.
know, resistance comes up. I had days when I was like, "Oh my god, I just put my book on Amazon." And then the next day I would go, "Holy shit, I just put my book on Amazon." And I feel so exposed and so scared, because you go above the life that you know. And to me, that's the most exhilarating, the exciting part of creation. And also, if we're bringing this around to like physical touch and sexuality and sensuality and love and devotion, that also, like, you jump, right? You jump into it. You don't know, you jump based on this feeling. And I think that when it's truly driven from a place of love and devotion, we can understand that, like, all of these things are for us to claim. And there's no like, shame doesn't exist, right? It's just when we walk in the way of love and devotion, we can find anybody that shares our flavors.
That shares our
Shares
flavors.
our flavors, because let me just tell you, there is somebody out there for everybody that shares your flavor, especially after going down the book talk world. Somebody.
Nope, this is a first for me. I love it. And it's so good. I'm so grateful to have brand new information for my listeners to get, and, a whole new angle. And, this, when you walk in the way of love and devotion, you'll find you'll find those connections. And I love that. I mean, that's the energy of it
Yeah.
and the intention of it.
Yeah.
And you're such a powerful creator. I'm so grateful for your inspiring actions.
Well, thank you. Some days I am a powerful creator. Some days I've through this journey, I have realized that force doesn't work, but I sure have a whole lot of parts in me that want to force things. And so I find myself in force a lot, in going, okay, what's my intention? Back to, what am I creating? What is my intention? And letting go of those things, and acknowledging, like, that's part of the resistance that comes up through this. Because I think with marketing and, some of this language we've gotten really used to, we think that it's like this path filled of like puppies and rainbows. And that's not where you start off. That is not where you start off. And if you're awakening to who you really are, which is the creative force within, that's that invisible intelligence. We're not our thoughts, our emotions, our reasons, our meanings, our excuses. We're not any of that. But when we step into that knowing, and we start to embody that, again, we lose the ability to know how because we're disconnecting from our predictable pathways of our brain, and we're following that voice in our heart, and we don't know how. And that is terrifying. That is, when you're standing on that I don't know, it's terrifying. And if you haven't practiced building self-love and trust in yourself, not by trying but actually experiencing it, that's where the relationship has to start, right? So that's where the spiritually kinky relationship starts. Is it's not you looking outside into the world, it's you looking inside of you, and getting to connect and to love and to touch and to own all of that before going out into the world and trying to make somebody else fit into what you think is missing about you or what you think is wounded about you.
Wow. There's so much in there. Like, you got
Oh,
all
we're
the
gonna go
things
deep
right in
really
there
fast.
too. And I love that because this is great because that is exactly what there is just so much. It's so fast. And I love that because that is really like that's the purpose of this podcast too, is to help people, recognize that your authentic self it's in here. It's
Yeah,
not out there. And that is the first step to creating anything that you
yeah,
want. You really have to be cognizant of your inner truth, your inner work, and be heart led. And it's not a 24/7 thing. It's like we're human beings no matter what. And
yeah,
um and human beings are not wired to be heart centered all the time. But it's such a great journey and such a great um experience to start to get those little pieces and start to feel it. And it does get scary, but then it becomes this awesome dopamine hit when you
yeah.
trudge through one of those situations that you're trusting your intuition and your heart, and then it does work out. And lots of times it works out in a completely different way than you
Yeah,
expected. But then it's like,
absolutely.
wow, it really works.
I could not have planned the pathway to creating Spiritually Kinky if I tried. And when it came into as an idea, everything spilled out in like 3 weeks. I wrote like 5 books in like a week and a half. Did the academy, the podcast, the record, like everything. I mean, when we talk about creative structure and flowing, it was like, oh my goodness. And how everything came to be, I couldn't have planned it, but I listened and I just moved through presence. And so like in Spiritually Kinky, the first 11 episodes is the conscious creation education. It
Mhm.
talks about the steps, like for me, the steps that I needed to give my human while I embodied who I am. So to keep it walking forward, and it was about building the vision and building values. And when I say like walking in the way of love and devotion, the human has to try, the creative force within doesn't, it just is, right? But when the human's controlling it, when we understand that we can identify like steps that we can take to do that, right? We just need to know the next step. Like that's it. Because then it's like the alignment happens and we will follow, like we'll start to follow that. And it's only our self-conscious that wants to know, I have to know how everything works. I have to know how it's going to put together. I have to know this. I have to know that. But truly, you're not going to know. But you still, if you want to play this game, you still got to take that step forward. And so in spiritually kinky and owning your yes and your no and giving yourself permission and how to actually like practical steps that you can take to build trust with yourself, because it's easy to say, well, just trust yourself, be authentically you. But what the hell does that mean?
Right.
Right? What does
Yeah.
that mean? That's like the kung fu kick I start everybody off with, is putting their hand over their heart. I'm like, you can suck at it. Your mind's going to go crazy. But if you set a timer for 10 minutes first thing in the morning, you put your hand over your heart, all this stuff biologically is going to start to change. And you can suck at meditating. You don't need to do anything other than just take the action. So that is like the path of least resistance to connecting to who you really are. And then being able to trust yourself once you've started practicing the consistency and then just moving from this space that you start to feel instead of here. So that was also like a big pattern interrupt when I didn't know the path in front of me. Like when I left corporate America and didn't have a backup plan, and I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? I'm terrified. Started this heart exercise. And then what happened is then just by me following this practice, I learned to like trust my footsteps. I learned to trust where I was going and everything because I didn't start with trust. I didn't start with any value. I didn't start with a vision. I didn't start with any good feeling emotions. I was numb, coping, all of the things, you know. And so I this is how I built myself out of it. And then when I came across Chris's work and going, "Oh wait, I'm not broken." Like I totally forgot that premise. You know, now I put that premise in front of everything, but I still give the practical steps for the human because the human is just so I need to know.
Yeah. Resistant. It's
Yeah,
resistant. Yeah.
it's so resistant, unconscious, so resistant.
I know. Yeah, exactly. I love that. I love that. What an amazing example of letting go, letting flow. And and yes, thank you for mentioning you're not broken. That is definitely one of those baseline premises that we need to keep in mind. And it's really it can be really hard at first to you can understand like so many things. Like I understand the words. I can understand what you're saying, but it doesn't settle in for a
Yeah,
little while.
yeah.
And
Well, I
thank
I
goodness for
found
Chris.
I found there's like I put together a guide that's like 5 stages that I moved through.
Ooh.
Yeah, I call it shift happens because I was like, when I left corporate America, I really wish I would have had this map to show me where I was in this awakening and in the shift process. So I created this map to show people where they are. Because when you're like, okay, I know it up here, but I don't have it here, or you're feeling like they're coming together, like you're actually in an integration process, right? So there's different phases. And so we want to go from like here to here immediately without the practice, but it doesn't
Yeah.
happen that way. We get an inkling, we get a knowing up here like from our ego, and then we have to learn how to embody it. And we embody it with the practice. And like in the creative structure, we embody our desired reality, our future self, we embody it by creating it first, right? And then coming back and then being instructed by that. We're embodying it. So when you embody it, it's no longer I have to try to think, it's
Mhm.
you just are. And that's a whole new experience because you're like, whoa, when did that happen? You know, like it
100%.
used to be a try and now it's just in embody. You're like, oh, okay.
And really, yeah, when you really arrive, it's a new feeling, you
It
know.
isn't, yeah, it's a new feeling. And there are phases to it, you know,
Yeah.
and we got to give ourselves some grace for being human through these phases and letting go of our, I need to be perfect. Not to
Yeah,
be
that's no joke.
perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the theme of my life. It's like I'm very upfront about that. And yeah, so uh oh yeah, I was gonna say I said the evolution. That's I keep coming back to. It's really I love the transformation's great, but even when we talk about transformation, it's like I can do that. I can transform a room by painting it a different color in one day.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about this kind of work, it really comes down to an evolution and a constant up leveling and clearing and up leveling and clearing. And
Yeah.
it's how you get to the good stuff.
Yeah. Well,
And
and what you realize in your evolution is that this is the good stuff.
yeah,
This is the good stuff because in this evolution, you will never be this you again. You
deep,
know, you
deep.
won't. And you know, Chris said something the other day that I was watching one of his old things and it really made so much sense about the true choices and really making true choices that stretch you, because I've made like two new true choices that are really like, holy moly, I've never had that before. What? It's going to require some hella magic to pull it off. But that's the part of it, because if you want magic, you have to create choices that require magic. And in this being instructed by your future self, and what he relates to is the be it to see it, which used to really piss me off too, because I'm like, what do you mean be it? I don't get it. Like, how do I be it if I've never seen it? Like, how? Yeah, it just really drove me crazy. But when he said this, it made so much sense as to what we do, is because we create that future self that already has it, and then we become it by evolving into it, right? We know that that choice is going to cause us to evolve into the person that's ready to hold that vision. It's the evolution of it. And that's actually what we really love. It's not the creation, it's the evolution. So I love that word. And it's so beautiful because it's so true,
Yeah.
right? I chose the end result of creating a book, a podcast, and a global brand that's revolutionary, that touches the hearts, minds, and bodies of millions of people. When that came out, I was like, holy shit.
Now what?
I yeah, like, okay. No, and I'm not that person yet, but I'm evolving into it. And one of the best things that I hope your audience gleans from this is you start with where you are with what you have.
Yeah,
You just
100%.
start. You
And
start.
the and you're perfect in that spot. You're perfectly you right now, and let's get to it,
Yeah.
you know?
Because if you don't start, you're not even giving yourself a chance to evolve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And a lot of people are okay with that. A lot of people are
Yep.
okay with that. What I have found is my audience are the first generational rule breakers. They're the ones that are like, nope, we're claiming something different. We're claiming that we're the ones in our family line that's going to claim a new level of health, wealth. We're going to honor our families in new ways. And that's the evolution, right? But you have to claim it, and then you have to be willing to show up for it, even when it's scary,
Yeah.
even when it doesn't go your way, even when it's a struggle, and remembering that, your success and failures aren't personal, they're just structural. And that's why, like, when I learned about structure, I was like, oh God, I can let myself off of the hook for everything that I ever thought that was broken about me before. It's just structure. I'm like, I can learn how to create and structure, like I can do that. Like, I mean, it just was like this huge weight off of it. So it's like on all of my channels, that's why, I'm taking Chris's work and from the conscious education into conscious creation and doing it through my voice and spiritually kinky and what I've learned as the human, and just trying to get into as many hands as possible, because this is a level up that I think that humanity really is looking for right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really what we do is needed. And I think sometimes I feel like, oh, everybody's doing it, but you know what? Everybody needs to be doing it. Need to be doing it. And um, it's so easy to become complacent, even if you hear something once, like, oh, that sounds cool. I'll try that someday. But if
Yeah.
we don't start taking action, if we don't really embrace concept, then
Yeah.
you really don't evolve.
Yeah.
Then you kind of get
Well,
dragged along behind the wagon.
you don't get to the embodiment without the practice.
Right.
You don't. You don't learn. And I've had a couple of clients. I love them dearly, but I'm like, you don't learn to swim by reading about it, right? That's
Mhm.
not how you learn to swim. You got to get in. You got to do it. And
Wait a
I think, you know, as much as I love this, and as much as I want to bring this to the world for humanity's sake, this is my mission. Like, this is my purpose. This is what I was supposed to do. And so it's part of a life that I love, and I couldn't stop it even if I tried. And believe me, I've tried. I've really tried. In the beginning, I
You
really
get
tried.
reeled back in.
Like, I was like, all right, we're going, okay, we're doing this again. But now, stepping into it in a whole new way, because, I'm the primary creator in my life, and just acknowledging and accepting that, um, this is what I bring to the world. And I'm the only one that can bring it to the world in the way that I can bring it because there's only one me. It's my voice. And I think when we do question ourselves as creators and we look at, we get lost in that, what everybody else is doing, first off, we need to remember like bringing the power back and saying, okay, where am I putting my power? Connecting to our power again. And then, finding your own voice, because that is one thing that everybody said after I created Spiritually Kinky and did the first 11 episodes. Almost every person commented how my voice changed and how my frequency changed. And I'm like, it did, didn't it? And I can't tell you how, but working with energy most of my life, I can tell you that something changed.
Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
evolved.
Yeah, I
It
mean, it evolved. And so what frequency that is, I don't know, but it's my frequency. And so you have your people that are waiting for your frequency as it evolves, and as it evolves, you will attract and let go of more and more, and that's just part of this. But the most selfish thing that you could do and your listeners could do and that I could do is to not create a life that we love, because in doing so and letting your light shine, it's contagious and it sparks and it fans flames. And the amazing thing about human consciousness is it doesn't take everybody. There's a tipping point.
Yeah.
Just like in business, there's a tipping point. So speak to as many people as you can in your voice with what you love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow. I feel like I just got this great coaching session. Thank you. Yeah, and it's and that's just a great message for everyone, because there's so many people listening right now. Like, I always wondered if I thought I could maybe try this. And it's like, yeah, just do it. It's like I had
Yeah.
to commit to this September 2nd launch date, and today's
Yep.
August 30th. So so yeah, you just have to do it. And
Yep.
having a guide like you is so helpful, and
Aw.
it's just amazing. I
Well, I've
loved
loved
it
it.
that you evolved in 11 episodes, and it's important too. I know you've given us so much. Thank you. And so much language. So some people are going, what's a true choice? What's
Yeah.
this? What's that? So I know you'll have probably some questions depending on the order of things being aired. Maybe I'll do a little, we'll probably have a tutorial posted
Right.
near this. So we know structure. It's all good. It all works together and creates such a beautiful experience. And
Yeah.
we get to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and understanding just some basic, I mean, if we go back to the very basics and just saying, okay, I recognize and acknowledge that I'm the creative force within, whatever you want to call that, we're energy. We're light force energy, and energy scientifically moves in specific ways. So that's why I talk about structure, because energy will always follow the path of least resistance. And we have just structured ourselves as human beings in our consciousness to keep us safe, to keep us alive. And, it really has no regard for our desires. And that's why when we go outside and we try and look for these new things, our unconscious is like, no, no, no. So it's created the path of least resistance in survival mode. And when you understand just some basics understanding of like how biologically you're conditioned, you can just recondition yourself to create a life you love. Like that's it,
Yeah.
and the rest of it is just teaching your unconscious how to let go of the past.
Yeah. That's it. No big deal. And it's true.
Sounds
It really
cool.
isn't. It's really
Sounds so
not a
true.
complicated formula.
No,
It's just a committed process. And
it's a committed, consistent process.
mhm.
And it's an embodiment process because biologically the human has been conditioned for survival mode programming. And so one of the reasons why I hate the working on your mindset, it's because it doesn't work. You can't change your mind to change your thought. Like you can't change your thoughts to change your emotions, right? You have to understand how to change your emotions that influence your way of thinking, that change your thoughts, because your cells have become addicted to those survival emotions.
Mhm.
So even if you think positive or try and be high vibe, it's not going to work because your cells will literally be like, nope, we didn't get our fix. Like, we got to change the thoughts around here.
I need my drama dopamine today.
I know, like, come on. And so it just understanding that just allows us to be able to understand how we've structured ourselves and how we've designed ourselves and just how we can redesign ourselves. Recoding is a like kind of a neuro emotional tool that teaches your unconscious to let go of the past. And it does it in what I have found to be the most pleasurable, easy, flowing way possible so that you can just release the resistance and just go for what you want.
Awesome. Beautiful. Yeah, we'll do a whole thing on Recode when we yeah. Dustin, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I am
absolutely.
so grateful for you taking the time to talk with me today and our listeners.
Absolutely. I'm so excited for this podcast. I can't wait to see what you evolve into because this is just such a great. I love your truck, by the way, and
thank you.
loving
She's
your
a good
content.
girl, my Daisy.
Yeah, I love it. It's so funny how we name our vehicles too. Like mine's Baby.
It's the only one
So
I have her name, and she's got a name. I just have to figure out what I'm going to do when I have her in storage for the winter. I may be, shooting from a barn. So.
Well, I really appreciate you having me on. I just think anytime anybody is starting something, you just got to give as much love, as much encouragement, and just, as much appreciation as possible because stepping out onto the road of creation and allowing yourself to be seen is so scary. It's so scary, but it's also exhilarating and it's what we came here to do. So I'm so glad that you started this.
Thanks. And I'll get put in the show notes links to your podcast and
Oh yeah,
other
absolutely.
things going on. We'll share that out so people can listen to some Spiritually Kinky.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They got a lot of great episodes and really great guests that we have coming up too. So excited for that.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me here today in Daisy. And remember, it's not about having it all figured out. It's about showing up, staying curious, and letting your soul take the wheel. Until next time, keep your heart open, your mind clear, and I'll see you down the road. Bye. To connect with Dustin, go to spirituallykinky.com. If you'd like to connect with Molly, send an email to mollygenergy@gmail.com.